Um, actually before, like, we were due October 28th. And like maybe the 14th or 13th, I was like, I asked Alexa, oh, I hope she doesn't listen. I I asked her when the next full moon was because it's more heightened that women go into labor around full moons, but I didn't want to have her October 31st. So I asked her at dinner time, when's the next full moon? And she said October 17th. And that was the day she was born. But um, I said, I said to Dylan, oh, a bunch of women are going to go into labor because October 17th is in a couple of days. Not expecting it to be me. I was fully in denial. But around 10:30 on October 16th, I like went up to pee and I went to walk back to the bathroom and I was like leaking. And so I thought maybe my water broke, maybe, like when you get farther along in pregnancy, you don't know if it's like if you're just leaking because you can't hold your pee anymore or like what it is. So I was like, but every time I would go and I would go back and sit on the toilet and I would leak more and then I would walk to the bed and I just kept leaking. So I put a towel in between my legs and we like just slept the rest of the night. That was a Wednesday. And on Tuesday night, when we were in class, I was feeling cramps like almost the whole time in cramps, just like really, really light period cramps the whole time during class, but I didn't really think anything of it. And then my water broke that night. But we
Let me just tell everybody, because everybody doesn't think that's anything. That's actually, those are labor contractions. If it feels like period cramps, it could be pre-labor, it could even be early labor. But I have a question. You put a towel between your legs and you went to sleep. Was that hard to go to sleep? Weren't you excited?
well, I didn't know if it was my water breaking yet. So we waited to call Michelle until the morning because we just weren't sure. And then uh when we called her that morning, she was like, I have a really busy day, but come in at 2 p.m. and I'll get you in to check. So yeah, it wasn't that it wasn't exciting. It was just like we didn't know what, like I didn't have any other contractions or cramps or anything else that night. I was just leaking. And I just like slept with and I was in a culinary class and I was supposed to have my chef dinner that weekend. So I really was in complete denial that I was like having a baby because I was like, no, I have to do my chef dinner. So I think I kind of put that completely out of my mind. Um, and yeah, I didn't even get excited about it. I actually cried on my walk home from Michelle's house because I was like, oh no, I'm going into labor and I'm not going to make it to my chef dinner. And I was like, still trying to figure out, like, okay, how can I make this work where I can have this baby and still, it's a whole thing. But, anyways, around, yeah, 2 p.m., Dylan was at work. So I walked over to Michelle because I still wasn't having any like other cramping or contractions. It was only in class that night. And I walked over to Michelle's and she checked me and she did find Vernix. So she was like, yeah, your water did break. Um, and that we need to like start if I don't start laboring in the next 24 hours that we need to like initiate it. And so she gave me some like what was it like? Well, had a breast pump. Dylan went out and bought a breast pump that night because I didn't have one previously. And then there was like 4 ounces of castor oil, some different maybe Montana could tell you some different like tinctures and homeopathics and then capsules that I would take. So the night after I went to the midwife, walked home, we kind of just prepped everything. We prepped the birth pool, we got our house ready. Everything was like ready. It was just down in the garage because I didn't want it sitting up here. So we brought everything up, got all of our birth stuff ready, the pool pumped up, just everything that we thought we needed. I like prepped the labor aid, which if you haven't gotten that email yet, I'm sure you'll get it soon. The labor aid from one of the emails that Liza sends out. I like prepped that stuff And then we just went to bed like probably around 9ish or something. And that I kind of like that's when I started to get more excited and allow myself to be like, okay, I'm gonna have this baby soon. And like really enter into it. So then that was Wednesday around like 10:30 p.m. I started having actual like more cramping and all the way up until the next morning, but it was still just like cramping little light contractions to where I could still sleep in between. And I still got basically a full night's rest. I think I slept until like 8 or something.
Like 7:30 or 8, yeah.
Yeah. And Michelle had told us to start the what was it? Like the natural induction protocol, to start that at like 7ish. I was dreading it, so I was hoping that maybe she would tell me I wouldn't have to by the time I called her. But in the morning, she said, no, start it. So that's when we started the protocol. I drank the 4 ounces of castor oil. Absolutely, probably the worst part of all of the birthing, honestly. I knew that my stomach wouldn't be able to handle it and that I would throw up immediately, but I still did it. And I think that also probably just started labor quickly. But I started pumping. It's like pumping, and then you do the tinctures and the capsules every 15 minutes on and off for 4 hours. And that kind of like ramped up all of our, like contractions and stuff. I started feeling it more, especially into 4 hours. But it wasn't until after that Dylan was like, okay, let's do the what's it called? Mile circuit. So we ended up doing that 1.5 times. We went through mile circuit. That really, really increased labor, like a lot. I felt contractions a lot more.
But it slowed down.
Too. And
took a nap after mile circuit.
Yeah, something we had our baby, like we still had 3 weeks left of our Bradley class. So we missed like the last 3 weeks. But I forgot where I was going with that.
I don't know. You said the mile circuit and
then yeah, I have no idea where I was going with that. The mile circuit, it's like if you can start we started doing some stretches too, like a little bit earlier. So I don't know I don't know what
to contribute to it.
Yeah, to contribute to it, but like contribute to going into labor early. But yeah, the mile circuit I would say is like really, really helpful in increasing your labor and moving it along and just like, I don't know, getting them into the right position. After we did one full set, and I was like kind of napping in between. Also, something that was helpful was Dylan these were in the email too. They're like the electrolyte hydration things. I do have like drinking electrolytes, but these were much easier to take. Like every so often he would just give me some of them and then have me chug a bunch of water. And that was like a lot easier than drinking a really like salty electrolyte drink. So I don't know if that will be helpful for anyone, but it was really, really helpful for me. And when we started the second mile circuit, I don't remember around what time it was, but I remember what I was going to say. 7:30. Sorry, we're going so we didn't practice this beforehand. Yeah. I told Dylan that I didn't want to know at any point, like, because he would say, okay, your contractions are this far apart, your contractions are that far apart. And I was like, I don't even like, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know how close I am, how far I am. There's no way to actually tell. And even then, like, there wasn't, because I took a random like 1 hour nap in between, like in one of the side positions, kind of like resting position. Yeah. I took like an hour nap, and that was like maybe, I don't know, an hour or two before I had her. So there's just like, if it's helpful to you to not know, I would just say have your partner not tell you and just, like it is what it is. Just, so yeah, when we started our second one, we did the first, like on your hands and knees position. And that like really, really increased my labor. And then when I went to go do the second one, I was like, you know what? I want to get in the shower and just like take a moment. So I got in the shower, and like the moment that I stepped in the shower, my body was instantly pushing. And it was like, yeah, I don't know how long I was in the shower, maybe like 20 minutes before she was born. But Dylan called, we're like in the shower. This is obviously in transition because he's like, I'm like pushing. He's like, no, 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 don't push yet. No, stop, don't push. Like he turns off the water and wraps me in a towel. He's like, not yet, hold on.
Full panic, by the way. I had no idea. I didn't know, like, I thought the water maybe laying down would stop it. I didn't know. I was full panic because it happened so quickly.
Yeah. He's like, should I call Michelle? I'm like, I don't know. Because like maybe 20 minutes before that, I remember thinking, I don't know if I can do another 12 hours of this, or like however long it's going to be, because I felt like everything slowed down. But my mom said that with all four of us kids, her, she would go from 5 to 10 centimeters within like 30 minutes to an hour, all four of us. So I don't know if that was something, because we never got checked. But Dylan called Michelle. She lives, thankfully, like a couple streets down from us. She made it within probably a couple minutes. She literally ran upstairs, put her gloves on, and like helped me pull Ivy up. So it was like so fast. And there wasn't like, I don't know if we really had a we didn't really have a long transition point, because there wasn't a point where Dylan was like, okay, I should call, let's get, the midwives here. Yeah, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, I mean, we had a nice, clean birth pool set up that never got any water put into it.
Yeah.
Didn't even get a chance to even look at it. No, the only thing I would add is, and this is just more so, I guess, for the partners, like the Bradley method class helped me so much, because I was able to she wasn't able to communicate because, she just wasn't able to tell me what she needed. And so I was able to make sure she went to the restroom, make sure she was hydrated, make sure she had something to eat, all the things that Liza reminded us of. And it was super helpful. And then, yeah, I think just towards the end of it, like for us, it was a little different because I was timing the contractions, but I just didn't really, maybe I'm just horrible at timing contractions. I don't know, but they were so sporadic that I was like, I don't know. And then as soon as she got into the shower and it expedited quickly, I was like, oh, okay. And then that's when I called. So yeah, it all happened quick for us. Thankfully, everything went well. But yeah, I mean, she was just about ready to catch Ivy on her own because she was crowning by the time that Michelle was able to get there. So
I like the midwife strain.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. And I did a doula birth, and I got there at noon, and I was home for dinner by 8. And I'm like, man, it was like this all the time. I do this for free every day. Well,
Yep.
let me ask you though, while you were doing the mile circuit, were you having contractions?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then, well, how were you coping with them? Were you just breathing? Were you making sound? What were you doing?
I'd say I was like more vocal than I was expecting, but it was more of like a humming, or honestly, I was like saying Jesus constantly.
Yeah.
Like
it was breathing and saying Jesus.
Yeah, breathing.
Yeah, a lot of breathing, saying Jesus.
And just, yeah, like I would hold on to Dylan, and he would like tell me to relax, and so I would have to like slowly think about relaxing through my whole body. I think the easiest one was the side lying, because like I could almost fully fall asleep in between, but those also were sometimes the most painful, laying down. So yeah. I was going to say
amazed.
It was helpful, like for partners, and I know this comes up in Bradley method, of just offer things as the partner. Just like he would come in and be like, here, drink water, here, eat this turkey, here, like eat this cheese. and just offer things. And then it was easier for me to say no than for him to be like, okay, what do you need right now? Or what do you want? It's like that, like I can't even come up with things to tell you, you know? And so I think also like my eyes were closed probably 90% of the day. Like I was just like in the zone. Mine, like I used my birthing ball a lot. I laid down. I just went where I needed to go. And then like there were times where he would be like, okay, let's try this. Let's move to this. And I would be like, nope, I'm gonna sit on the toilet for longer. Or I'd be like, okay, yeah, let's try this. You know, so just having, I would say that was probably the biggest thing, and the most helpful thing was just him like bringing me things, or him like leading me into something else that maybe I didn't really want to do, but was helpful.